Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. It's Marc and Bryon here with you. And before we get into the show, we want to talk about a big thing happening on Halloween, Bryon. What's coming this Halloween to Enfield, Connecticut?
October 31st, East of the River Comic Book and Collectible Show from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the American Legion right here on Route 5 in Enfield, Connecticut. It's going to be a good time. I don't want to say if right now on the flyer it says masks are not required if you're vaccinated, but we will have to wait and see how that really works out. But other than that, the show is still on. I'm very excited. I will have tons of new stuff. So I don't know, Mark. I'm excited for could be the biggest show and the last show of the year.
It could be. And it will be an awesome show. It'll be on Halloween. So I'm assuming it hasn't been announced yet, but I would assuming wear your costumes. I know Bryon will be dressed up as a fairy, so come check that out. It's gonna be great.
But yeah, what's wrong with that?
Yeah,
there's no raffles or costume contest.
No costume contest, but come dressed to impress. It is going to be Halloween, so I'll be dressed as a comic book nerd, as always. It's a great comic costume.
You're dressed like that right now.
I know. I'm preparing. I'm warming up. So we'll see you all at East River Comic and Collectible Show and Route 5 at the American Legion. Be there
or
not be there. All right, on to the show. I'm not sure if we were breaking off into its own thing or not. Bryon didn't tell me what we're doing, so I don't know what's going on. But anyways, this is a show. We're here. We're talking. We're live on the Zoom with Bryon and myself. How have you been, Bryon? How has your week been? How's things? How are you doing?
Why are you talking like William Shatner?
I don't know. I felt like it.
It's like your first time.
You could just respond back and not have a comment.
Oh no, I have to have a comment.
You don't have to. You can just be like, "Oh, hey, Bryon," or "Hey, Marc, I had a great week."
I have to have a comment. Come on. All right, Marc. What are you drinking there? Milk? Is that milk?
Oh, vitamin water.
Oh, okay.
Lemonade.
Ooh, the lemonade variety.
Yes.
My favorite.
It's good. It's good for you. It's good stuff. We're not sponsored by vitamin water at all, but I will promote it. Sugar-free.
People know what vitamin water is. Yeah, they see it at the gas station.
Vitamin B and vitamin C. Good stuff.
All the vitamins. All the vitamins.
All the vitamins.
Okay. So my week, Marcus, we did see the Suicide Squad.
We did.
We'll talk about at the end of the show. We're going to give our review.
Yes.
For me, this was like I went to the movies and I saw Weezer at Foxwoods on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, okay, I am done risk taking. That is it for me. And
I mean, the movies. Let's just say the movies weren't really risk taking. There was probably a total of what, 10 people in the whole theater? Not much risk going on there.
I'm more or less talking about the concert.
Okay, I was just saying the risk was not on the movie theater side.
It's still a risk. It's still a risk.
Well, because Rocky was there, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yes, he's a risky character.
I don't know
what he's been into.
He's gonna try to
kiss you or do something in the dark room. Who knows?
So I went to the Foxwoods for a
who knows what
show.
what contraband he has on him.
Yeah, for a makeup show, and it was an awesome show. It was great. It was just Weezer. And
I thought about that because wasn't the Hella Mega tour?
It's happening right now. Yeah,
like in the area at the same time.
Yeah, they played Boston. They played Fenway.
That's what I thought because I saw that and I was like, oh, I thought Bryon said he was going to Foxwoods.
Yeah, this was a makeup show.
Oh.
That was happened after the mega, the big tour. But they fit it in between New York and Boston.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
it's right in between.
So I wore a mask. We wore a mask the whole time. We did eat there. They didn't have concession. They don't sell booze or anything. So they put on an hour-and-a-half show.
Yeah.
It was great. And I would say 90% when I was in the casino area, a lot of people were wearing masks. A lot of people,
Yeah.
which was nice. The concert itself, you had to wear a mask. And like I said, no concession.
Yeah.
So that was all fine and dandy. So I felt comfortable going, but I still was a little on, it's kind of like
a lot of people.
Like the day before, we had seats, so we weren't crowded. Luckily, we were in this row of seats that had nobody behind us and nobody in front of us. It was near the walking area behind us, so it was great.
Yeah.
I only had a family on my left side, so it was nice, but there's still risk there. So for me, I like the day before, I was like, oh, should we cancel? I don't know. So I Googled it.
I mean, it's also a Weezer fan base. It's not like it's, like you're going to see Kid Rock or anything. The Weezer fan base is pretty.
Mark, it doesn't make any difference. I don't.
I know, but they're more apt to be vaccinated than other fan bases would be.
I guess, but I don't believe that. I don't put stock in that theory at all, because
I do.
I think people are people, and they can like something and still act one way or another. Also, you don't know what the variant right now, what's going on. It can still affect you if you are vaccinated, and it could be nothing or something. We don't know. So it doesn't matter.
Like the rest of life. Nothing or something.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me if I was at a Kid Rock show or a Weezer show or whatever.
It would matter to me if you were at a Kid Rock show. I'd defriend you.
Well, I would never go to a Kid Rock
show. Why would you be at a Kid Rock show?
You mentioned Kid Rock. I don't know.
Well, it's just a fan base. I'm just saying they're more.
I mean,
blasé with their life choices.
But anyway, it was like Brian's big week out, and now I'm like,
now you're sheltered in.
I feel like until these numbers start going back down again, I really have no interest in going back to the theater or doing anything. Until these numbers are back to a comfortable place where they were in the beginning of the summer. Anyway, it was a great show. Had a great time. We went to the theater. It was great to go there one last time before the end of the year, depending on what happens.
Or the lockdown resumes.
And then also, I did finally watch Bo Burnham's Inside on Netflix, and it was so good. I watched it yesterday. I watched that, and then I watched the Back to the Future movies
that made us.
I knew that story, so it was very boring to me. It was sort of interesting, but it didn't.
It's more the common. It's one of the more common stories that if you're into those movies of that time frame, it
was good.
Story behind, but
it was good for what it was.
You got to cover it. It's like
yeah.
You're gonna do a show called Movies That Made Us. You kind of have to do a Back to the Future episode.
Oh yeah, so I did watch that. That was good. And like you said, I mean, this was kind of a slow week. I had a great comic book pull, and I was going to mention a couple things, but I'm going to wait on that. I didn't read volume 2 of Sweet Tooth yet, but I'm going to pick it up this week. I actually had a stack of comics I picked up from Matt, so I didn't pick up Sweet Tooth volume 2. I will this week though. So other than that, that was really my week. How was your week, Mark?
It was good. Like you said, we went to Suicide Squad on Thursday, so that was a good time. I'm starting to, like, I know Francia and Kristen are really high on that movie theater that we went to, but I'm starting to kind of fall like in love with that theater. I'm kind of like liking it, liking the smallness of it, liking it's almost like our own private viewing when we go, which is nice. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to be around a bunch of people while I watch a movie anymore. I think I'm at that age now where I'm just like, I want to watch my movie. Don't make any noise. I don't want to hear. It was bad enough I had to hear you laughing incessantly during the whole thing.
Mark, you were laughing too.
I know, but if I hear my laugh, that's one thing. I don't want to hear your laugh the whole time.
Well, then you talk. Oh boy, you do that. You do this. he's got the big gun coming out. You go, oh boy.
I didn't even know I do it.
You do it
I
all the
didn't even know I
time.
do it.
Mark, you do it all the time. When something big is about to happen, you go, oh boy.
Oh,
I gotta record it. I gotta record it.
I don't even know I do it.
Yeah, you do it. You do it. Oh boy.
Now I will not say anything ever again when I go to a movie theater.
You're like, you get so into it. You were
I
laughing.
do. It was a good movie.
You were laughing just like me.
I know. I just picking on you. But no, it was a good time. It was fun to hang out with Francia and Rocky and Stephanie.
Yeah.
Besides that, really didn't do anything. Like I said, we had a family thing we did on Saturday for Claire's grandfather who passed away during the past year. So we did that on Saturday. But besides that, just yesterday, just kind of just decompressed. Just had a nothing day. Just sit around the house. We are cat sitting for Sarah's cat while they're in Arizona.
Yeah.
We had their dog over the weekend, and their dog's now at my father-in-law's house. So I was like, I can only do one of these. Like two of them. This weekend was very great. Like a dog and a cat together.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's too much. I can't. Too much.
And you guys don't make anybody else watch your animals. You don't have any, so you need to get an animal. So you have to make them watch it.
Well, the thing that I was going to ask you about this, I forgot to ask you before the show, but I'll ask you now because it's in the show, and it's kind of informational for people. Their litter box broke, like right before they went away.
I don't know what that is. Why would it break?
Litter box?
But why would it break? It
was like one with a top on it, and the latch broke on it to put the top on. So they bought a new litter box, of course, like right before they went away on vacation.
I have a gigantic litter. Since we have two cats, I have two litter boxes.
Yes.
But it's a gigantic pan with a lid that goes on top of it with a big old hole. I never take it off unless I'm changing the litter. I'm actually changing the whole litter.
Yeah, that's what they were doing. They were changing when somehow it broke. So they bought a new litter box, but they didn't get it until like right before they went away. So I have to find out, but I'm thinking they've never used this litter box. So the cat's never used this litter box before.
Yeah. So
the cat doesn't know where to it's lost. Like it doesn't know where to poop.
I've never had that problem. A cat will find the litter no matter what it's in and use it.
I think it's because they didn't use any of the old litter into the new box.
It shouldn't matter.
Any kind of scent thing or anything. So the cat's like just pooping like everywhere.
Well, hold on. Let's rewind the story. I gotta break it down here. Now, is the cat pooping? Is it in the same house?
No, it's at our house.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
There we go. So if it was in its house, my cat, for example, I changed that litter to a new brand. I changed that box to a new box because after a year, I always
we keep it in the same location, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, the cat will find. And also, if you have a cat and you change it location, you're supposed to move it gradually. So, like if I was going to move this from here to upstairs, and it wasn't going to be down here anymore, I would maybe put it at the bottom of the steps, top of the steps for a day. So it knows where it is. And you could show the cat, hey, this is where it is. You put the cat in front of it, it knows. Now, you
So is that the trick? Is that all I got to do is just like pick up the cat and just walk it to the litter box? Be like, here's where you poop.
The fact is the cat's in a brand new environment.
Yeah.
Does it know where the cat litter is? That's the question I ask you.
I don't know. Like, do I have to like walk it to it and be like, here's where your kitty litter is?
Well, my question would be when you first brought the cat over and they gave you the litter
upstairs and hid.
Okay. And then you took the litter box and put it where?
In the bathroom, downstairs.
And has the cat ever been in that room?
When it was a kitten, when we first watched it years ago.
Right now, though, this week, did that cat know that litter box was there?
It's wandered in there. It's just like, I don't know if it's just being obstinate or it's just like being a jerk and just being like, I'm just going to poop wherever I want because I'm angry that I'm not at home.
Did you get one of those? They have those plugs. We have one. Well, we used to use it more. but it's a scent thing to calm cats down when it's in a new
No,
environment.
it's not our cat.
Yes, but it's in a new environment.
I know, but I didn't. Why
And
would
it's your floors it's pooping on, so they should be giving you something to help it calm down and figure. It's probably smelling the dog. First of all, if you
Well, it's the
have
dog
a
that it lived with.
huh?
It's the dog that it lives with.
It lives with a dog.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not
Their
afraid of
dog.
dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was smelling your old dog.
No.
So the cat hid. You put the litter box in the bathroom. It's never been in this environment before.
They did that. They just came in, put the stuff down, and left.
All right. So my only question is to you: if it's never been in that bathroom and you're not 100% sure it knows, you should pick up the cat, put it in the bathroom, and
Close the door and make it poop in there.
Well, no, but at least it could see it. And
Open the litter box, toss it inside, and be like, "Here's where you poop."
Or if the cat is afraid to leave a certain room, maybe just put the box in that room.
Well, no, it roams around between the living room and the bedroom. It wanders around. It's starting to wander around the house. So I'm assuming I don't know. I think it's just being a jerk because it like cries at 5 o'clock in the morning. And
because they probably feed it at 5 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, I'm not waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to feed it. That's for sure.
I mean, I don't even. How long are they gone for? A week? That makes sense.
Yeah, they're supposed to be home this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, a week to leave a cat alone for a week is a long time. I mean, we did like two nights, and we have a automatic feeder.
Yeah.
We have a water.
Our neighbor's away for a couple of days, and I'm like just checking on the cat today, and she comes home.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, how far away does she live? Couldn't you guys go to their house and check on the cat? Or is it more convenient for the cat to be there?
Yeah, because it's just the amount of time. They didn't want to leave it in the house by itself.
Yeah, I mean, my only thing is, as long as the cat should,
and they don't have air conditioning. Like they
What?
don't need air. They didn't want to leave the air conditioning running during the week that they weren't going to be there.
Oh, well, that's different.
Yeah.
Okay, they have air conditioning.
Yeah, they do. It's just like why? Yeah, they're like you have air conditioning. Let's bring the cat to you.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the cat knows where the litter box is, it could just be having a hard time. But like I said, there are they plug in the wall. It's like a scent. It releases pheromones into the air, and it kind of relaxes the cat if it's high stress because of the.
It doesn't seem to be. It's got.
But you just told me it was pooping all over the floor.
Well, this morning it like pooped all over the place, but last night it was like it's got its little kitty condo and it's like hanging out in its kitty condo and it's all happy.
Oh, how many times did it poop on the floor?
I don't know. Claire said it pooped all over the floor this morning before she went to work.
Oh, well, I
didn't see it. I didn't actually like visually see it. I just like she told me when I was like half awake this morning, and I was like, "Oh, that sucks." And
all
I
right.
went back over, went to bed,
and that was the only time.
Yeah, as far as I know.
Okay, well, maybe it was just an accident. I mean, you put an animal in a new environment, you're gonna have accidents. So
yeah,
it could be scared, or maybe it didn't know where to go, or it, is it an older cat? I don't know.
No, it's only like 5 years old, I think.
Okay, so maybe it just had a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, once in a while, our cat, you'd find, a turd on the ground.
Yeah,
you find a turd, and you pick it up with the tissue and throw it away.
Yeah,
I don't know. Animals, am I right?
they're crazy.
Animals.
The funny part, this is like the trial run to see if we're gonna get a cat. So that was the other reason why it's at our house. Is it was like, let's try this out and see how it goes. And
well, I think when you get a cat, it's going to be a lot different, because if you get a cat that's young, it's going to attach itself to you, and it will probably be a little bit more friendly than a stranger's cat.
Yeah.
Or a cat you don't.
Yeah.
A cat you don't see on
every day. Yeah. Yeah, because I definitely would like a cat that's like gonna want to hang around me, not like hide for half the day and then appear.
That's a cat. I mean, my cat Fidget hides, wants to be with me, pain in my ass, and then when I'm working, he's like walking all over, trying to do all that. And then when I'm on the couch and I want to be on my lap, he'll come out for 2 seconds, and then he just goes
He's
running
out,
off
yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, he's like, I'm out of here, dude.
Yeah.
So cats are
This
very.
cat's like it doesn't like it's like a nocturnal cat. It feels like
All cats are
like
Yeah.
around like
Yeah,
5, 6 o'clock. That's when
right.
that's when it
Yes.
appears.
Yep.
And
They
it wants
sleep
to,
majority
and it
of the
wants you to
day.
stay up all night and play with it all night. And it's like, I want to sleep. So you're out of luck.
Cats are sleeping during the day. They take a lot of cat naps during the day, and at
Yeah.
night, that's when they're probably most active.
Yeah.
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 Just how it is. Well, that sounds like fun, Mark.
Yeah. Well, 5 a.m. wake up call. The meowing.
Yeah. My life, 5:30, 6. Then I finally will feed them. Today, I actually got to sleep in until. No, I fed them at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I went back to bed and I slept until 7:15, which is the latest I've slept in weeks.
Wow.
I'm usually up at 6:45, 6:30.
You crazy party animal, you.
Oh my god, 6:15, 7:15. I was like, wow, this is way too late. Half the day is gone.
I wasted so much time.
I wasted so much time.
I'm gonna go sit and do nothing for the next 3 hours until I have to work.
No, dude, you know what I do? I get right to, like, once I get all my stuff done in the morning, I get right to work because I get it all done. I get all my work done for the day early.
I don't know what you guys got going on at your public access, but
Well, I have to program. I download shows every day.
I program for the month.
I program for the week.
See, I do the whole month at the beginning of the month.
I can't.
And
we get too many surprises if I do that.
I just put in the new shows as they come.
You know, we have meetings though, and meetings could pop up anytime. So I can't. I used to do that, but it's a pain in the ass.
See, we don't have meetings.
Yeah, we do. And last week, risky behavior. I had my first in-person meeting. I had a couple.
How'd that go?
It went fine. It went without a hitch. It wasn't that. I mean,
so you got one in for the year. So that'd be fun to put on the books. Like you did one live meeting for the year.
One in-person live meeting. Yeah.
It'll be the last time you see them all until next anti-variant time, and then you can come back out.
I feel like we're gonna do one more for this month, and I bet you I have a hunch by September they're gonna be like, well, we're gonna go back to Zoom.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like we're gonna do it at least one more time this month. So
I'm not holding out any hope about going back into my office in September.
Mass numbers are going up. Connecticut mass, everybody's going up, and now they're saying each town in Connecticut is saying like if you have to wear a mask inside or not, and it's a stark difference. Last week I go to the grocery store. Majority of people no masks. I go to Costco. Majority of the people no masks. This week I go to Costco. Way more masks. I go to Target to get some kitty litter. Speaking of cats, and probably 90% everyone had a mask on.
Yeah,
all the employees, and there was a very slim amount of people without masks on. So I think the mask stuff is people are doing it more because they know
coming back.
Yeah,
back again.
So
good thing I didn't toss away my masks after last time. I'll tell you.
I haven't stopped wearing mine. So
yeah, I always wore mine to the grocery store. I'd have it with me. And if it was like, I try to go in times when it's not that busy.
Yeah, I go Friday morning.
Like later in the day or something like that, I'll go.
Yeah.
It's not as bad. So only if it's like, if I go down the aisle and there's a crowded aisle, I'll put it on. But that's about it.
Well, I wear it the whole time I was there. I wouldn't take it off. Anyway. I got news, Mark.
News? Woo! What do you got?
All right, Marcus. I'm a fan of this gentleman. It was very sad, his passing. We still don't know why. Trevor Moore, he was a comedian and co-founder of The Whitest Kids You Know. Whitest Kids You Know, if you've never heard of them, they were a sketch comedy group on IFC. Fuse TV first, back in 2007. Back then, when I had cable, the only two channels I wanted was IFC and G4. That's the only two channels I really, really loved. Yeah. And The Whitest Kids You Know, I think it was produced by Lauren Michaels, if I'm not mistaken. But It is a sketch comedy group, really funny. They put out a movie not that long ago called The Civil War on Drugs, which is really funny. It's on Amazon. And Trevor Moore, he actually he reunited with the guys on their YouTube channel during COVID. They did live streams. He actually is a producer and comedian for, he had a Trevor Moore show on Comedy Central, and he did stuff for Disney Plus, Disney XD, I believe. So he passed away Friday between 10 p.m. and Friday morning. He passed away, and it says it was an accident, and nobody knows, and they haven't reported it, that's fine because it's their business.
Yeah.
He did a live Twitch stream that night, which he would do with another comedian. They would do it weekly, I guess. And they did a live Twitch stream that night. His wife was out. He put the kid to bed, all things he mentioned on this live stream. And they stopped at 10 p.m. And he said goodbye to everybody. And that was it. So he said it was an accident. And it wasn't a car accident because he was at home, unless he went out. I don't know. And I feel it was a car accident, they would have said.
Yeah.
So very sad. I know the comedy community on Twitter and social media really came out for him, just saying it just sucks that he died at 41, and he was just a really funny guy. And he has really cool, funny music videos he would make. He did Miss March, which was a comedy they put out. The Ways Could You Know, kind of like back then was like, teen comedies and stuff. Miss March.
Yeah.
His buddy falls in love with a Miss March Playboy centerfold, and they have to go out and find her. And it's a funny road trip movie. So that happened over the weekend. And then I always want to talk about the box office. Suicide Squad came in. It was kind of like a low. Oh God, now I have to find it. It wasn't like, I think it did 45 million overseas. So I think it did 72 million in total. So I think it did like 30 something here domestically. And it's because, there's a stark difference. And we could talk about this, Mark, because you were there. We saw Black Widow. There was a lot more people there because it was cheaper to go to a theater
than to watch it on
Disney Plus.
Yes.
Also, our numbers were down at that moment. That was the beginning of the summer. Now the Delta variant, everything is going higher again. You could watch it free on HBO, or you go to the theater. We went to the same theater, and there was less people there. There was
probably, I think, for Black Widow, I would say about 30 to 40 people.
And there's about like 10, 12 people.
No, at Black Widow, I'm saying.
No, I'm talking about for Suicide Squad, though.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
The difference I'm saying is that, at Black Widow, we had that many. At Suicide Squad, like we said earlier, I counted 10 total.
Yeah.
It was us 5. There was a 4 family in front of us. And then there's one guy sitting by himself in the very front.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's a start. In the movie, it's got a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. The reviews have been glowing. So
I just also think it wasn't a movie that I don't think, I mean, it probably suffered a tiny bit from the, didn't we already see this movie before syndrome from some people?
I think it could have suffered from maybe a tainted title. Yeah. But I feel like they really, really promoted James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a new take. But people, I mean, I don't feel like, because other DC movies have done better than,
and also DC movies never usually have as big of a, I would say big of a pull as,
and it was rated R. So that's that. You're not bringing kids, you're not bringing teenagers. Everybody's going to be 18 and over. Yeah. But also, hey, honestly, if I had the choice to watch an HBO and I don't want to go out there,
I'd watch on HBO if I had the chance. Yeah.
So, and I did. I watched an HBO Sunday night. Me and Allison watched it last night. And I loved it just as much as I loved it the first time. So there's a lot of that. I mean, there's so many very variants. There's so many things that could cause a low box office. But the box office has been low ever since Black Widow. All these movies really haven't been making a lot of money, and it's getting smaller and smaller as I think the numbers go up.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, you have so many options now of how you could watch it. So,
well, I think it's also based off of the thing. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people say like, "Oh, that's not like a thing," but we've been to enough of these films now, superhero films, that we can probably say at this point, Marvel movies always have better attendance than DC movies.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Recently.
I think Marvel has a better hitting average, so a batting average. So
Yeah.
yes, going in is going to be at least good.
Yeah.
That it's not going to be terrible.
Yeah.
So there's that. I could see
and
that.
I think also the thing of a Marvel movie in the grand scheme of storytelling means something. Whereas a DC movie at this point doesn't mean anything. It's a one shot.
You mean that because there's a connection, connected.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and the grand storytelling.
Yeah.
Like Black Widow, not only was it in a one shot of that character, but it fell into a timeline that also then branched into another version of something.
Yeah.
Whereas Suicide Squad, and if you're not into Suicide Squad, there's no reason for you to see the movie.
Right.
If you're a DC fan. If you just like Batman or you like Superman or whatever DC character you like, unless you like Harley Quinn, there's no other characters in there that like have a huge fan following that you're going to pull from.
Right.
They're going to get you into those movies.
I you know what? I will say this goes perfectly what you're talking about, Mark. I will say Suicide Squad was a kind of a fresher breath air for me because it was not attached to anything. Like I showed Alice and I said, I think you're going to love a particular part of this movie, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
And I said, and it's great. I'm like, you remember the first one, right? And she goes, I sort of remember. I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You don't need to.
But when it comes to Marvel movies, we're so knee deep in it that I want to. I'm like, oh, we should watch Black Widow, but then I'm like, oh, but she's not going to get it. She still hasn't watched the second part of Endgame,
which is good. Which I've talked about before. I think you don't want to watch her to watch Endgame.
Yeah,
I'd have her watch Black Widow, and then have her watch Endgame.
But also, when you watch Endgame, there's a lot of payoffs if you haven't seen the older movies. She hasn't seen Ant-Man. She hasn't seen any of the... And your brain hurts because you're like, oh, should I watch these?
Well, it's only because you're a completist. You have that in your system.
I know, but it becomes
you have to have everything. Where I think if a regular person doesn't need to see all the ancillary movies, it's like you don't need to read... Like if there's like a big event comic book thing coming out, like Empire or Secret Invasion, you're one of those that has to read all the ancillary books to tell the stories.
Yeah.
Whereas a regular fan just shows up for Avengers, Infinity War, and Avengers Endgame, and that's all they need. They don't need.
But you know, everybody who saw it, we all saw all the other films.
Oh, I know, but I would know what it's like, but like a layman fan, like Allison, who's not into all the other characters in the movies.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to see all those other movies. She could just see Infinity War and then watch Endgame and still get something out of it, as opposed to us who are into the lore and want to know all the different, like have all the different stories.
It's true, but I mean, it probably is intimidating for some people who are like, oh, maybe I should watch this or that because it might have something that will
you get a different perspective. That's all.
Yeah, it is though. It is nice to watch these movies. Are self-contained. I don't have it. I don't need to know a knowledge of anything. It was kind of nice.
Yeah. Speaking of Marvel, Brian, this is a big week.
What?
What If starts on Wednesday.
Oh, it starts this Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay. I thought I missed it because
it starts the 11th.
Oh, okay.
And then on Friday, the 13th, We get the season finale of Bad Batch, which they've already announced the second season.
Oh, I thought it ended last week.
No, it ends this. It's a 2-part ending, and the first part was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm really thinking you need to get in. I know you're not into the cartoon stuff,
I know.
but this series is doing the best job I've ever seen at making you dislike the Empire. Like actually giving you a reason to dislike the Empire. Whereas the movies would just give you like, the Empire's bad.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. Empire's bad, rebellion good.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. When you were a kid, that's all you needed to know. But this show is giving you like why was the Empire bad? What did they do to make it like everyone disliked them so much?
Right.
They might have the cool outfits and they might have the cool bad guy with Darth Vader, but like the things that the Empire did and the deep storytelling that's going on in it, it's very well done. And also on Friday, Why the Last Man starts on FX on Hulu.
Yes, that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Part of me really wants to either, because I read those a couple years ago.
They released a full trailer for it.
I haven't watched. I'm not going to watch the trailer. I'm going to go jump
really
in.
Good. And I found out, and in the trailer, Diane Lane is the main president. Is the president was the main character in the book.
Yeah.
So
I might just jump into it without watching the trailer. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. A lot of good stuff.
Yeah. So it's gonna be we're gonna have a lot to talk about next week.
Yeah, I get so behind.
Yeah.
All right. What were we talking about? I don't know what we're talking about.
Other news. Any other news you got from this week?
No, that was it. Anything? I know Venom dropped the new trailer.
Venom dropped a new trailer. You see Carnage. Oh, another show that comes back this week on Thursday. The new season of Titans, which I'm into.
Oh, I don't know. I don't watch.
It's on the HBO Max.
Teen Titans.
Yeah, well, it's just Titans. It's an adult version of Teen Titans.
They're all 18.
Well, they're older. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also they announced Doom Patrol's coming back too, which I'm excited for.
Yeah.
Which I think is also which is in September, I think. I don't know if you saw this a couple hours ago on IGN. They put out an article. We've gotten our best ever look at a canceled Duke Nukem game.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't read the article yet, but I'm like, what else is new? I mean, Duke Nukem. There's just so many games that poor Duke has been part of that has been canceled.
Yeah.
I mean, we got the shitty one that came out in 2013, I think it was.
That's the one with the boob wall?
Huh?
Is that the game with the boob wall?
Boob wall?
It had a wall of boobs.
Yes. There's always boobs involved with Duke Nukem.
Well, I thought that was like a big thing. I remember you like talking about like.
Yeah.
There's
alien boobs.
Laughing hysterically about it.
Yeah, and that game was canceled for over, I think it was like 10 years. It finally came out, and it was a hot pile of garbage. But it was, I still bought it and played it, and it was all right. It was a pain in the ass to beat. Speaking of games, I am in probably 50% in Mass Effect 1, and my God, I am in love with this game.
Well, you know what, Brian? That's a good lead in to the other thing I was going to talk about. IGN also an hour ago put out their 8 absolute best video game deals this August.
All right, we don't need to read IGN articles.
This is good.
Well, we should do
coming out this month. Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition. I know you're into the Spider-Man game.
Yeah. It's a good game.
And then
it's deals. It's just deal. Who cares? It's just sales.
I don't know if there was a thing that you were into.
No.
And Mass Effect's Legendary Edition. Is that the one you got?
Yeah. But man, oh man.
That has all 3 games?
Yes.
Cool.
It is good. It is like playing. I mean, there's a lot of choices and talking and a lot of action, but like the story is just so good. Anyway, Mark, we should get into Suicide Squad, the review.
Yes.
We went to Agawam. Of course, we talked about that. It was a great time.
Yes.
Let's get into this. And overall, for me personally, I liked going in there. I saw one trailer. I didn't know who the main villain was going to be. I liked how took took a different direction on the cliches, and I think it was a very well written, well directed, had a great soundtrack, and it was very original, and it didn't feel the same old, same old. And
Well, I mean,
yeah,
you know what else I'll throw in there real quick? Because speaking of how it felt, you know what it felt like?
what?
It felt like a Marvel movie. It
No,
felt more polished than DC movie. It felt more
it didn't feel like a Marvel movie to me.
more laid back than a DC movie. It felt more polished than a DC movie.
Yeah,
It
but
just felt more.
it didn't feel like a Marvel movie at all. Like
I'm just saying it felt better than a regular DC movie does. The had.
I would, for me personally, we watched it again. I watched it again on Sunday. The reason I say, because a Marvel movie somewhat has a formula, and even like this was better than Black Widow.
Oh yeah.
So I felt like this. There was chances. It was R-rated. It was hyper violent. It could be. They could say the F-bomb. They could have
talk about a beach full of dicks.
Yeah, they could have their character have sex with another character.
Yeah.
Like they could take chances. The chances were taken, and to me, that's on really wasn't it didn't have a Marvel feel. It had like an R. If you took Suicide Squad and you took the word DC Comics out of there, it could just be what like Tropical Thunder. It was like
or Tropic Thunder, whichever you prefer.
Is it Tropical Thunder or
you said Tropical Thunder, which is might be your porn name, but your stripper name maybe.
Tropic Thunder.
Your terrible wrestler name. Coming to the ring, Tropical Thunder.
It was a movie that took chances and it paid off. So I compare it to a movie like that, an R-rated comedy, action comedy.
I think the thing that I got out of it first was that, as opposed, because as you would, I compared it to the first Suicide Squad. Because you have to, because it's it's the same movie. Not the same movie, it's the same characters. Yeah. It's a reboot sequel. It's a weird way of saying it, but it's
not a reboot. I mean, because you have Amanda Waller, and then you have the characters still in there.
It seemed like they killed off everyone that was useless from the first movies, kind of.
Yeah.
They kind of just like cleared the slate to restart a new franchise.
Right.
Except for Harley Quinn, who you have to keep because she's Harley Quinn.
You can't kill Harley Quinn.
I guess, yeah, whatever. But the thing with this movie compared to the first one was this movie let the jokes land.
There was no jokes in the first one.
That's the thing. They tried them, but they weren't jokes.
Oh, they were so bad.
It was just they didn't work.
No.
This movie, like, they felt like there was a chemistry between the characters. It actually felt like there was like an actual, like, you actually cared if something happened to the main characters.
Yeah.
Whereas in the first one, you're like, just blow their heads off already. Just kill these people.
Spoilers.
I don't want any of them here.
Spoilers. When Rick Flag does die, I was pissed off. I was just like, John Cena's character, I hated him so much after. I hated him more. Yeah.
Because he was actually the villain of the movie.
Slightly.
He was actually the real big bad.
He wasn't real big bad.
After you go through the whole movie, he was like the real like bad guy of the movie.
Starfish was the real big bad.
Well, Starro was just a captured alien.
Yeah, but I mean that's
and forced to like do what it didn't want to do.
I mean,
it was a captive.
John Cena's character was someone that basically, if the team didn't go along with the plan, he was the guy that's going to be like, "Well, I'll take you all out because that's."
Which was Flag in the first movie, so it kind of was like an interesting turn.
Yeah, I like. Also, this movie, the characters like Harley, she's Harley, so she can be quippy, but the people that are not normally quippy, they're not. The only time you had this butting head was between Idris Elba and John Cena's characters because they had different philosophies. So they're trying to one up each other when they're killing people, and it was played for laughs, but they're playing against each other, and it wasn't like
two sides of a coin, so to speak. They weren't like just doing it just to do it, like in the first movie. Like people just did things to do things in the first movie.
Like
this part, like there was actually like a reason for it. And when like they did that scene, and then at the end, come to find out they were all peacekeepers, and they probably shouldn't have killed all those people. It actually meant more than just like, as opposed to let's just kill a bunch of people.
Or in the trailer of the original Suicide Squad movie, you had Harley Quinn break a window, bend over so we can look at her ass, and she takes shoes out, and she makes a quip, and that's the scene. And then when it played out in the theater, when I saw that, it was so cringy. It was just, it landed flat. And it was just like a way just to have her bend over. That was the entire joke. And it wasn't that funny. This time around, you didn't need that. You don't need that. She was badass the way she was. And
I think the only thing I wasn't a fan of with the Harley Quinn stuff is I think how good Idris Elba is as an actor. And he made you actually like care about a villain, a DC villain, which is a throwaway villain, basically. Bloodsport. I mean, why? Who cares?
Yeah, but he was so good.
He was so good that I actually started to get like annoyed that Harley Quinn was in the movie. I was like, the accent starting to get a little grating.
She wasn't in it that much,
just,
though.
But I know, but it was just kind of like when she would come up and she'd do the terrible New York accent she has.
I don't think it's that terrible.
I don't know. I wasn't a fan of it.
I'm opposite.
It's a small thing. It wasn't even like angry to the point of God, this is terrible. It was just like, oh, that accent.
Like for me, they downplayed her, which was nice. She wasn't obnoxious at all. For me, anyway, I thought she was perfect. I thought they didn't overplay her and they didn't like underutilize her. She was a key component, but they
I don't know why is she invulnerable? When did that happen?
They're all invulnerable. I mean, look at King Shark. I mean,
King Shark is invulnerable. That's his power.
Yeah, but look, half of them, and she was with them.
She would just like walk through, like people are shooting all over the place. Like she's fighting stormtroopers basically. Like no one can actually hit a target. There's a lot of bullets shot at her, and not one of them hit her.
Not really, though. And what scene?
She's walking through the base there. They're like,
nobody
kills the main guy.
Nobody got a shot on her. When I rewatched it, they all were running towards her, and she let all the shots out. There was no shots by them. There was a great fight scene, which I think was awesome in the jail cell when she was getting out. But like, she had two gigantic guns, and as they were coming towards her, she just unleashed. So there was no guns fired at her at all in that scene.
Maybe just the way it was shot. It
was awesome.
There was bullets, but maybe there wasn't. But
there was no bullets against her. No. They're all. I mean, it's a superhero movie, Mark.
I know. It was just kind of.
You ever care? Your hero made it out. You know. But yeah, I mean, I also think James Gunn is good at writing an ensemble cast and letting everybody have time to breathe.
Giving there enough time.
Because the other Suicide Squad, it was just Will Smith, the Will Smith show, and
the Margot Robbie show.
Yeah. In this one, everybody had,
even the ancillary characters
had their own time. Yeah, it was great. So, and I think the girl, Ratcatcher 2, was the heart and soul of this film.
Well, she was the underdog character of the film. That she was the real superhero that no one knew was a superhero.
She was great. I mean, this movie, for
me... How much
did
Allison like Ratcatcher 2?
She sounds adorable. We actually had our rat Lilu out, and Lilu watched it with us.
Did you get him a little plaid vest to put on to look like Sebastian?
Backpack, little backpack.
Yeah, look like Sebastian.
Yeah. It's funny because in the credits, Sebastian's real name is Jaws.
There you go.
Which is funny. because they actually use a real rat. It was CG, but there
there's
was
too many of them not do CG. I mean,
yeah.
you're gonna find millions of rats that you can coordinate like that.
Yeah, I thought Sylvester Stallone was great as what's his face? Why does it say Shark Tank?
King Shark.
King Shark. He was great as King Shark. I thought.
Yeah. Is that Sylvester Stallone?
That was Sylvester Stallone.
Wow, didn't even know.
Yeah. I also like the beginning scene.
Makes more sense though. Now the voice makes more sense.
The beginning scene I think was great because it made you not
I feel like
what
it was like
going on.
Well, the thing was, it kind of like it was a great way to like get the original movie out of the way, kind of.
Yeah.
Because you had Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, Rick Flag, the remaining members from the first team.
Yeah.
And then they threw in other characters,
Weasel and Pete Davidson's character, all these characters you never heard of.
Blackguard actually was in
TDK.
the first episode, the first issue of Booster Gold. Random fact. TDK, yeah. Javelin.
Yeah, it was great, and it set expectations because
Micah Rooker.
It showed we're gonna take a big left turn here.
Yeah,
because you're walking it, and it was Squad B, Squad A.
Who was in there for 10 minutes?
Who?
Mongal.
Oh, the alien person? Yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
I love the opening scene. The opening scene was great.
Yeah.
But I thought the action was just great. I mean, I don't know. I gush about this movie because I don't know. It was a great adaptation. If you read Suicide Squad, the ones I've read, it just matches that tone.
It felt very much like a Suicide comic book.
Yeah.
It was like he basically took a story out of the Suicide Squad comic books and just shot for shot made a movie out of it. That was one thing to do well. And I think Amanda Waller in this one was better than Amanda Waller in the first one. The writing of her character was way better. Like, it was more
intense.
Not only intense, but more like uncaring. Like in the first movie, she kind of like was a little bit caring about the people in the Suicide Squad and was not like a much more, but in this one, she was more like, you don't follow my rules, I'm blowing you up.
Dude, all I have to say is when Edison, is it how do you say
Idris Elba?
Idris.
Yes.
Okay. When him and her are on screen in the beginning,
yeah,
the acting between the two was
you can't. I mean, there's always. I mean, there's a different level.
Was amazing, intense
in that part of the movie. Thank you for bringing it up. You see in that part of the movie that there's like acting, and then there's acting.
Yeah.
And Idris Elba is an actor. Like, he doesn't matter what he's doing.
Yeah.
He could read you the phone book, and it's going to be the best reading of the phone book you've ever heard, ever.
When he's yelling at his daughter,
oh yeah,
like it was awesome. Like that scene is just like, I don't know. There's something about it, and they took that scene. If you go back to the original Suicide Squad,
it's the same story,
but different,
but better.
Way
it's
better.
Not much different. It's not much different.
Yeah, but it changed. It went left when you thought it'd go right.
A different level of acting from Will Smith.
You had Will Smith doesn't want to lose his daughter. This is someone who doesn't want his daughter. He doesn't give a shit about his daughter, but doesn't want the daughter to go to prison.
Yeah,
that was really like Amanda Waller was like, if you don't work with me, she's going to prison and she's coming here.
Yeah, it was the old I don't care what happens to me, but you're not doing it to her.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
And it was so well done. And it told you that story in less than 10 minutes. Yeah. Where I think the other one took almost 45 minutes to
get. Well, it's also, I think the difference in this movie was just you actually had people that could act.
Yep.
And what good writing with good acting happens. Like, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Like, even Peter Capaldi's character, not a huge part of the movie.
He's great.
But just because it's him, he makes it so much better.
Oh my God. He
was literally like a mini boss in the movie.
And
but he did such a good job at it that you actually were like, it felt like an important part of the movie.
Mark, you make a great point though. This movie was set up it felt video gamey like that because here's a mini boss, here's a slightly bigger boss, here's someone a little bit bigger, and the big one at the end.
Big box.
And that was kind of cool.
The one thing with the Starro thing, which we talked about with John after the fact, and he knows a little bit about Starro, but I know Starro from
Rocky,
Mr. Gold and stuff, and Rocky knows about him too.
Yeah, John didn't know anything.
No, John didn't know as much, but he kind of figured out the whole scenario of it. But the one thing I wish they had done, and they could have done a little bit more of, was explain Starro more, which they could do in another movie down the road.
What was there left? I mean, they explained it pretty well.
Starro's character, like Rocky said, like there's actually a mind behind just a big star.
Yeah, but I mean,
that shoots stars out and jumps on people's faces.
Yeah.
If you really look at the movie, and you watched it a second time, but I got it the first time, is that Starro isn't doing what he did, or it did, because it just wants to. It's doing it as revenge for being trapped and held captive for all that time frame.
They explain that. They say it's because it was captured, and like the United States shouldn't.
Well, they did it that way. They went like that thing, like they explain, but they don't like.
Yeah.
Like it kind of like just Starro is just the big bad to kill at the end.
Well,
there's no like why Starro.
They explain
like what could happen if Starro
Well, they captured it. They had the film footage of him laying out the little things out of his armpit, attach himself to the people, and then Peter Capaldi, mastermind, thinker. He explains.
Not as difficult of a name.
He explains. I don't know. I
gotta get deep in that one. Yeah.
Thinker. He explains what it's doing and why it's doing it, because he goes, I'm the one who can control it, because America.
I think
not have brought it home.
Yes, I just feel like it
was like King Kong.
The Starro character in the comic books, like you feel for it after a while. Like you feel bad that it's like it doesn't want to be doing what it's doing, but it's been brought to this place, and it just has to, like, this is how it's got to survive. There's no other way for it to live.
Yeah.
So I think that's like bringing in the prior knowledge, I think, is what made me think that. But it did do a good job. They did do a good job of explaining why it's there and all that with the spacecraft and all that stuff and everything.
Yeah,
but
it's a King Kong
even the fact
scenario.
that they did the murder room where they have all the different people, like half a body like hanging.
That's cool.
And the star like pulled off the person's face with like one tendril hanging into their face.
Yeah.
To see how it connects and everything.
Yeah, they're studying it, trying to figure out.
He was studying it.
Yeah, it was it's
like
a horror movie.
Yeah.
And then,
but he had a very, very a positive kill there. I was very satisfied with his ending.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to ruin too much. I mean, I know we ruined some big.
We ruined pretty much the whole movie at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that they set up the Peacemaker TV show, which I'm not sure if they're setting up for that show or if it's just like for future Suicide Squad movies.
I'm gonna bring this up to you, Mark. Let's talk about the stinger at the end, because to me, and I was on Reddit looking at what other people now rave reviews for the movie. People loved it. I didn't see one bad thing said about it. But here's the but. It's the stinger for the Peacemaker. A lot of people were like, I hated the Peacemaker so much in this movie. Why it makes me not want to watch a show about him? And I kind of see that.
Yeah.
Right? What do you think? I mean, it did a good job of us hating him. Why am I going to watch a show about him?
I think the only way they could do it now is if it is a prequel. It couldn't be a sequel.
But it is going to be a sequel, because at the end, they got him, and then the guy goes, well, this is payback for what we did to Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
She put us on assignment. And then the nurse goes, but why? Yeah. And the other agent goes,
because he has to save the world.
He has to save the world. So to me, that's setting up the show.
Yeah. So in that case, I think they'd have to, I don't know how, like a reprogramming.
He's just a dick, and why were we gonna root for him? Why?
Well,
You
that's
know?
what the show's going to be about. Is you're going to turn him from the dick to a hero.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to do something where they make it so he's not killing just everybody, because
Yeah.
he's just like, I will kill women, I will kill children, I don't
Yeah.
care. And
I think it's going to be a redemption story. I think it has to be.
yeah,
To make it something someone will watch, you have to do it where you're going to turn him to something. You can't just have him be a bad guy the whole time and be that character on his own.
it could be them trying to control him and telling them you need to cut it back. You can't be doing this. You know.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. There has to be some kind of like either mind programming or something.
Yeah.
That does something, or just like he like. I don't want to see sees the error of his ways, so to speak, but
yeah,
there has to be some kind of character building, a la a Loki, kind of like not
right.
in that vein, but like senses his mortality kind
Yeah.
of thing, and like I can't keep doing what I'm doing, or maybe it's just a 12 episode show about him being a dick for 12 episodes.
It could be, and it could be about that team trying to control him and
Yeah.
saying like, and him maybe at the end learning to be a better person.
Or he just gets killed by a returning Colonel Flag.
Yes. I don't know.
I mean, who knows?
Who knows? I could have done without the stinger. I'm sure that was something that he had to
They
put
had to throw
in.
in once they announced the show happening.
Right. There was
Yeah.
probably we're going to put this in because we're going to lead to the show.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard sell. We'll see how I'm interested to see the first trailer to that show. Honestly, yeah. I am. I want to see what they're going to give us, you know.
Because it'll be the first show about a villain as opposed to a show about a hero.
Yeah. And he is a villain. We have to remember that. But
like
why
a full
should
villain as opposed to like Loki, who was like a quasi villain.
Right. He's a trickster. Loki
well,
is a
by
trickster.
the time Loki got his show, he had somewhat started his
redeemed himself.
He'd started redeeming himself already. So it wasn't like he was full Loki. It wasn't like Loki from Avengers Loki, where he was a full bad guy.
Yeah.
It was Loki from Endgame, where he had sacrificed himself to save Thor.
And also, Loki didn't murder innocent people.
Well,
no.
I mean, not on screen.
I don't think he
didn't
did.
gloat about it.
I don't think he murdered kids. No.
Well, he led to the destruction of Asgard.
What, in Thor? The last Thor movie? That wasn't him. He was against that.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't help with things.
He didn't help, but at the same time,
he also sent the guy to the big robot thing that had the beam eyes that blew up a bunch of buildings and houses and stuff up and tried taking over the world.
That wasn't first Avengers, but those are the aliens that came down.
Yeah, but he brought them.
I know. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a stark difference between the two characters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just he didn't like gloat about it.
Right.
Whereas Peacemaker is like, yeah, I have no problems. If it means saving liberty, then
I'll do it. Yeah. So Mark, for me, this movie to me, after my second viewing, it's definitely a buy. I'm definitely going to buy this movie when it comes out.
Yeah.
For me, it's a 10 out of 10, baby. You're
very generous with your 10s.
I am.
You're very generous.
I loved it.
You are just pleased with everything nowadays.
You know what I said to Allison one time? I said to her,
happy go lucky, Brian.
I said, I know I have a tendency to like a lot of things, and I'm fine with that. So.
You do. You're not very critical on much.
I can be.
You likes what you likes.
I likes what I likes, and for me, this was, for out of the DCU ethos, the best DCU movie.
Well, I mean,
hands down.
That's like saying it's the best meal on the Golden Corral menu.
Right.
That's not saying much.
For a comic book movie that stands on its own.
That Domino's pizza that I just had was the best Domino's pizza I've ever had.
I know. listen. A movie that stands on its own, that's a comic book movie. I think it did its job and did it very well. So for me, it's a 10 out of 10. It's probably
Best
one
pair
of
of
my.
shoes ever bought from Payless.
It's one of my favorite. It goes up there. I had the same feeling after seeing Guardians or Deadpool.
Oh, I mean that makes sense because it's the same director. So.
I know, but even Deadpool, I walked out of that going,
Yeah,
"Holy shit!"
yeah.
They did something different.
Yeah.
Guardians, they tried to do something different. Here,
Yeah.
they did something really different. So for me, I really liked it. I would highly recommend it, and it's a 10 out of 10.
Well,
Mark,
the one thing that this does show, speaking of Deadpool, is that Marvel can make an R-rated comic book movie.
we don't know that yet.
Well,
Haven't.
if this guy is a Marvel director, and they had another Marvel director in the movie as well, as a character, actually.
Yeah, Waititi showed up.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you can make it work.
Well, Deadpool 3 is probably going to be the first R-rated Marvel movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they already announced, they said that they're going to allow that for Deadpool to be outright. So I trust that Ryan Reynolds and company will do a great job. Yeah. So
I'm going to give it, because I'm not as generous as you are, and just flowers and rainbows, unicorns dancing around, doing a crip walk across the land. I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Wow.
It wasn't the greatest comic movie I ever saw. It was, like you said, the best DC movie, which, like I said earlier, is like these are the best pair of Payless shoes I ever bought.
What's wrong with Payless?
Well, it's out of business, but besides that, it's yeah. I mean, yeah, it wasn't the greatest movie ever.
Well, obviously, in the ethos out of comic book movies, there's better movies.
Well, like I said earlier too, it also depends upon, like we talked about with the Peacemaker show, and how the movie ends before the Peacemaker part happens, and how the movie ends with them like going away or whatever.
That's a great ending. I mean, I don't have no qualms.
It'd be interesting. I'm not going to give it a full like 9 or 10, because where does this go now? What happens next?
It doesn't have to, because it's a one and done.
Well, I know.
There's no.
But he's already hired on for another DC movie, supposedly.
But we don't know what it is. And
is it another Suicide Squad movie? Is it Suicide Squad 2? Is it something else?
I hope it is. But I don't think it should matter, because you base your rating on what you saw. You just base your rating on what you saw. That's it.
I did. 8 out of 10.
All right. But
I also would like to know if there's anything that like this does connect to the Peacemaker show.
Of course it will. We saw the stinger.
I know. So I'm saying I don't know.
Peacemaker will be all on its own.
Yeah.
It'll be written and directed by someone completely different.
I know.
We don't know where that's going to go. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like you said, like we talked about, it was funny, it had its laughs and everything, but it just wasn't, it's not Endgame or anything like that, so it doesn't get the high rating for me.
Well, yeah, nothing will ever be like Endgame.
Yeah, well, for you, everything's a 10 now, so.
I know.
Every episode of Loki was a 10. You didn't even give it a chance to get to a 10.
Well, what I felt, for me, that was my favorite MCU show by hands down.
Everyone knows, because everything was a 10.
Like WandaVision, my rating started low.
Everything you eat now is a 10. Everything.
WandaVision was I was giving 7s and 8s. I was so bored in the beginning, and it got better as it went.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know.
You've been stuck in your house for too long. Everything's sunshine and rainbows.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong.
Well, then why are we rating things if you're just going to keep everything a 10?
Because one day,
how do we know a basis for what your rating system is? If you give everything a 10, there's no difference in how things are.
I don't give everything a 10. I didn't give Black Widow a 10. I didn't give WandaVision a 10. It earned a 10 near the end. but that took a while for me. Straight 10s for Loki. That was it. Straight 10s for Loki.
Okay. I was gonna give 10 for Loki's for the whole season just because I like it.
I did. I really like that show. I thought
I'm gonna give it a chance to build up to a 10 and like warrant a 10. I'm just gonna give it a 10 out the gate.
I based on what I saw. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna hold out for something better. I'm gonna give you what I saw.
I'm less cynical in your old age, is what you're saying.
I can be cynical when it comes to certain things, but when it comes to just enjoying media, I try not to be. It's hard.
Notice.
I try not.
You've noticed.
I mean, I get cynical. Here, I'll tell you when I get cynical. I get cynical when there's this constant barrage of information that's false comes out that people just make up because they want clicks, and then everybody just takes it.
But you can't put that on the product at the end.
I get cynical. I have a cynic view because I'm like, listen, until the studio says something, I don't believe it. And people are like, did you hear? No, it's fake.
That's because John Francia reads every one of those articles and takes
it him. It's a lot of people. And sometimes I get fooled by it too. But I just go, it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
So that's the only time I get really cynical is when it comes to Hollywood media, getting media from these web pages that are like, my cousin's dog barked, and it said that Daredevil's gonna be on the new Spider-Man movie, and it's gonna be played by the Netflix guy.
Yeah,
it's not. Those Netflix. It's just like a part of me is just like, get over the Netflix MCU people. They're done. Get over it. They're not coming.
Well, you say
back.
that, and then like they do things like bring back Molina for the Spider-Man and Jamie Foxx as Electro. Yes, so it's like people think there's a possibility that they could bring back other characters.
I know.
I mean, and the one thing that's going to happen now is you're going to get 99,000 of these things now because now that they've opened the multiverse door.
I know.
Every person who's ever been in anything Marvel related is now open to conjecture and plausibility.
Yeah, but I just feel that these characters are going to come back eventually in the MCU, but will be played by much younger people. And they're not going to be Charlie Cox. They're not going to be...
Well, that's going to be the fun thing now is like when they do next year and this year, they have Steinfeld's going to take over for Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. When you start getting the new people taking over the older characters, like how is that gonna translate? Like how is the fandom gonna accept those new people?
Oh, I mean, they are. We're slowly.
There's a good portion of the fan base that's like, I'm not gonna watch Iron Man if it's not Robert Downey Jr. I'm not a fan of what's his face as Captain America. I want Chris Evans back.
Then don't watch it. That's what my opinion is.
I'm just saying there's gonna be that too. But speaking of which, do you think we'll get a I know you won't watch it, but what do you think the possibility of getting a Spider-Man trailer anytime soon? It's getting close. It's kind of crazy that it's this late in the game and we haven't seen hide nor hair of a Spider-Man trailer.
I agree with you. Before we end the show, I really think some of these movies might get pushed. I don't know. Spider-Man is not going to be digital only. It has to be contractually. It's going to be in the theater. So if the numbers keep going
because Sony,
higher,
they don't have a way of doing it digitally.
Also, no, I know, but if you go back to the Scarlett Johansson thing, these movies were in contract to be in the theater. So these movies are.
The difference with that too is like it was a Marvel-made movie, so Disney has the rights to throw it to the plus.
Right. But Spider-Man will get pushed.
But Spider-Man, on the other hand, they can't because it's not a Disney-made movie.
But these big movies, tentpole movies, if the numbers go up and theaters start closing or people aren't going out, I could see them saying, "Okay, we're going to move it to February or something like that." You know?
I don't know. I think it's this point. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. At this point, like Eternals, it's going to have to come out.
Well, the next one is it
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi? Is that next? That's next. That's in
Yes,
September.
it comes out September something. I want to say
So,
September 13th, but it could
if
be
the
wrong.
numbers are bad, I will probably just buck up and watch it on Disney Plus.
Shang-Chi comes out September 3rd.
Oh, wow, that's very soon. That's like in 4
That's very,
weeks.
very soon.
Yeah, I
The
don't
weekend
know.
of my birthday.
Or if I go to the theater, I'll probably just wear a mask the whole time.
And then Eternals is November 5th.
Yeah, man, I don't know about these two. I might not. I might just watch my.
That's the
Disney
difference
Plus.
between the Shang-Chi and Eternals movies, and why everyone's like, well, how come we haven't gotten a Spider-Man yet? Is because those other two movies are made by Marvel and Disney. Spider-Man not. So they're not as like Disney can't push them to put a trailer out.
I'm sure the trailer will be coming out soon, but Spider-Man's not until what? November, December?
December 17th.
Oh, so we could get one in September.
Well, that's the thing is, I think people are saying it's going to be on the front of Shang-Chi.
Could be.
Which makes sense.
But they usually release it online. So.
Well, I know, but I mean, they could, like, I think that's going to be the first time you'll see it in a theater. The trailer will be on the front of that, because that's usually how they would promote. Like, Eternals will be on that as well. There'll be an Eternals trailer on there.
I don't know.
It was weird to see, like, no real, like, trailers on the front of Suicide Squad. There was, like, nothing that was like, oh, cool. Yeah. It was very unattached.
I liked it. The movie started very quick. It was great.
Yeah. Well, it's also being in a smaller theater, too. They don't have to pump out the trailers like the other ones do.
It's so nice not to watch 20 minutes worth of trailers.
I'll tell you that. Or what's her name? Maria Menounos or whatever. You'll have to hear that for half an hour beforehand.
I know. The movie actually started at 7, like,
here's an hour of commercials before the movie happens.
It was great. Yeah. It was great. I love it. Anyway, Mark, that's our show.
It is.
We got anything? We should wrap it up. It's gone on long enough.
Yes. I will throw out there, don't forget, on August 29th, CliffsCon at the Plainville VFW. $1 to get in, 10 to 3. For early bird, which gets you in at 9 o'clock, it's $5 to get in. There'll be a little concession stand. They do have the grill going. So yeah, check it out.
August remind 29th. Me, I might go. I'll mask up and go maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You think is that must be masks required at this point?
Yes, I would assume so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at a VFW, so.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the hot zone. Enfield's in one of the higher risk areas.
Yes.
As of this week. So there you go.
Yeah.
2021's looking like the beginning of 2020.
Yes.
Woo-hoo. All right, Mark. We'll be back next week. We got a lot to talk about next week.
There'll be a lot going on. We'll be talking about the DB episodes of What If, Why the Last Man, the finale for Bad Batch, and so much more.
So much more. All right.
Stay tuned for it all. We'll be back next week. Everyone be safe and see you later.